Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to AlMaghrib's YouTube channel. Make sure that you turn on your notifications and subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Alhamdulillah wa salatu salamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Welcome to episode number 2 of Rhyme and Reason, the intersection of knowledge, culture, and art. And I am happy. I am fortunate. I am pleased, honored even, to have with me Tampa's finest, the legend.
This guy.
Faisal Latif. Just Faisal Latif, by the way. Any Faisal, just Faisal Latif.
Just Faisal Latif. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How you doing, bro?
Welcome, welcome.
Jazakallah khair for having me, man. I'm excited to be a part of this. I'm excited that you started a podcast, actually.
You know what I'm saying? And look at that, you're episode number 2. That means
Allahu
I'm
Akbar.
back. You know what I'm saying? Thank you very much.
Who's number one?
Don't worry about who number 1 was. Still pretty close up there. So what's going on, man? So I met you in Virginia.
Yes.
In Virginia at an event for Dar al-Hijrah. I
Yep.
remember, and you came and you sang some beautiful nasheeds. And you got a lot of different things happening. So you are Hafiz of the Quran, right? Tell us a little bit about yourself, actually. Because you're a poet, you're a filmmaker, you're a photographer, you do it all, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah, man. So, bro, how long ago was that, first of all? Was it like 5 years ago?
The years fly quickly. I have no idea.
I still have the video that we did together on my YouTube channel of Fatiha in motion.
Nice. Was that in Virginia or is that in Florida?
Yeah, bro, that was Virginia. That was because you and I were in the same hotel room, and then the following morning I was leaving, and Mahmoud, me, and you linked up, and we were in the car and we were doing Fatiha in motion.
Mahmoud held down the backseat ambiance.
Yeah.
In the car.
Yep.
Mahmoud was in the back just vibing, mashallah.
Yeah, but me, bro, alhamdulillah, yeah, I'm a Hafiz al-Quran, student of knowledge, first and foremost, those things before anything else. Yes. And on the side, like I'm also, I sing, I'm a poet, I'm a filmmaker, photographer, and I'm a coach and mentor here and there for some people, alhamdulillah. That's pretty much it, bro.
Is that like life coaching? You do life coaching?
I help young teens and young adults through things that I've already gone through.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much life coaching, depending on what realm they're in, whether it's them trying to figure out what they want to do in life, whether it's them struggling with, inner struggles, things like that.
Awesome. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. And where are you these days?
I am back in Tampa, Florida, man.
For a minute. You were in Egypt for a minute. You're also a traveler as well, mashallah. So I never know where you're at.
The first question you always ask me is, what city you in?
Yeah. Where in the world are you?
But yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm back from Medina. I went to Egypt, and I just got back from Egypt. I was there for like a year and a half, and I got back like February, I think, or beginning this year sometime.
What was going on in Egypt?
I went there just to learn Arabic, alhamdulillah. Just Arabic. I mean, I did some other things on the side, but the focus was Arabic.
And how was it?
It was great. It was great. I loved it. I preferred it to Medina. I mean, obviously, like, excusing the Haramain, I preferred Egypt, their curriculum, just Egypt, the country, more than I did Saudi. But it was amazing, man. I loved the way they teach. I love the tradition. I love that it's like, to an extent, it's a normal country. It was easy to live there because
Egypt is a normal country. Is how
bro, compared to Saudi.
You know what I tell people? I tell people, can you imagine a country that is filled with Egyptians? Could you believe that? It's literally 90 million Egyptians.
Bro, that's like that's like having a country full of Punjabis, man.
Exactly. But Egypt, in Cairo, I grew up in the city that never sleeps. I'm from New York, and I'm like, I didn't think that there are cities that are livelier than I just, you kind of think that it's the most lively city. And I saw Cairo. And Cairo is unbelievable. Cairo is like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It's not that it's like people are out and about. It's that people are out and about like it's 2 p.m. in Cairo.
Exactly.
It's so loud and the honking never stops. And trying to cross the street is like, do you want to live or die? Like, what is it that you want? It's very intense, mashallah.
I mean, the day starts after Asr, so, or Maghrib, so
That's
it's
why,
yeah.
yeah. So what was the thing that you enjoyed the most about Egypt?
Oh man, what did I enjoy the most? Bro, what I love the most, there are actually a few things. Number one, I really, really miss having adhan going off for every salah, right? Like I got super acquainted with that. I miss like walking to the masjid for Fajr or whatever salah that I want to go to, you know.
Yeah.
I miss
And not walking far, by the way. Not walking
yeah,
far. Yeah.
down the road, bro. The
Where you're at.
second, yeah, exactly. We'll get to that, but I'll tell you when we get to that. The second thing that I miss the most, I love the love that they have for the Prophet ﷺ in the country. Be it like how they are and whatever it is, but like Salah and Nabi, like you just all the time, you know, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like, I'm al-hag. You just like you're fighting, you're about to throw hands, Salah and Nabi, and just like everything's over, you know, like I miss the love that they have for the Prophet ﷺ and always being around that wherever you go. And I miss being in a place where everything isn't only just about the Prophet ﷺ, but the Quran. I miss like obviously Egypt is known for its Qur'an, right? And I miss that. I miss going to Jum'ah like 20 minutes before, sitting in the masjid and having their Qari recite for like 20 minutes. And like I got to hear Sheikh Hajjaj Hindawi. I got to hear Sheikh Yasser Sharqawi. Like these are people like I grew up with listening to, you know, so it's so cool to see them in person.
MashaAllah.
I miss those things. And obviously I miss how cheap the country is too. Like that was really good. Alhamdulillah. Like because I was living off of like events and just like my YouTube videos, which isn't a lot, you know, so at all. But if I got an event, alhamdulillah, like I'd be able to last that out for like a few months. Like I had a 3-bedroom.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, like I had a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment.
Yeah.
And like indoor balcony.
In
Cairo, indoor balcony, my private roof, all that for 250 indoor balcony. So it's a balcony, but it's sealed off. So
that's called a room.
I guess.
I'm gonna have to Google what indoor balcony is, but yeah.
All that for 250 USD, and I can't get that here in the States, you know. So
$250, mashallah.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing. And so you could literally just come stateside, do a few gigs, and then just go and live off of them for a couple of months.
Yep, easy, alhamdulillah. And like electricity was cheap, food, water was cheap, you know, so it was easy as a student of knowledge to be living there, so long as you have a means of income. And it's easy to live there. I miss that.
Jamil. And speaking of your YouTube, so mashallah, you just crossed 100,000 subscribers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless and make you a guider of others.
I mean,
so you know, you have a similar following on Instagram as well. Are those your two major platforms that you showcase your art and da'wah in?
Yes. I started off on Instagram and proceeded to YouTube not too long after Instagram, but Instagram is where I started. And I was actually, bro, I don't know if you know this, but when I first started my Instagram, and when you met me, actually, because when you met me, that was my second event ever, and at Darul Hijrah. And right before that, I would say a few months before that, I was in the process of completely getting rid of all my social media. And the reason I started it was because a friend of mine from the UK, his name is Dhul Qurnain, he was like, why don't you make a page where you share recitations? And I was like, might as well, like it's better than posting pointless things. So that's what I'm on, Instagram and YouTube.
You share recitations, meaning your own recitations?
Yes. So I would recite and edit my videos, you know, and back then you could only post 15-second videos. So it was like one verse, if that, you know, and then Instagram changed to a minute video. But yeah, I would recite, record in my room, film the video, edit it, and that's how it began.
So with regards to the filming and the editing and things of that nature, that was just something you were always interested in. It was a skill that you always had, or did you learn it particularly for this project?
Yeah, that, you know, like funny story, when I was young, actually for like a long part of my childhood, I wanted to be an actor. um
I'm not laughing. I think that's an incredible and important skill set that a person needs to learn. Yeah,
yeah, so
people. Yeah,
so that's what I wanted to be.
yeah.
And like realistically speaking, like I couldn't really go to Hollywood or like Bollywood, you know, so I was like, let me, if I can't.
You think of Nollywood.
What is that?
Hollywood is the Nigerian Hollywood. I mean, there's
Oh
Bollywood
really?
and there's Nollywood. Yeah.
I know about Tollywood. That's the South Indian.
Okay, that's the Hollywood.
Yeah, Tollywood.
Nice.
But I wanted to be an actor, and like there was this point where I was like, it wasn't gonna lead to anywhere, right? But I said to myself, if I can't be an actor and if I can't be in movies, I will make my own movies and I'll be my own cameraman, right? Um, I didn't think anything of it when I said that, right? But I specifically learned editing once I started making Quran recitations.
Hmm.
Um,
So this
and
is recent then.
no, yeah, like 5 years, yes, 5, 6 years ago, five,
That's
6 years ago. Yeah, so like I bought this MacBook. I bought it with my Tarawih money,
mashallah.
and 6 years ago, bro, it's still kicking. Alhamdulillah.
Well,
um,
last. I don't want to turn this into a Mac commercial, but I have had a MacBook for 10 years now, and they're not still.
what?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. Okay, so I bought that with this, and my first video I ever edited was, and I didn't take a course. I didn't watch any YouTube videos, nothing. I just got the software, played around with it, and got a hang of it, alhamdulillah. So like the first video I ever edited was screenshots from Quran Explorer of the verses that I was reciting, and I stitched the pictures together and uploaded it to YouTube.
Mashallah.
Um, but then that carried on over into other things.
So how did you go from there, right?
Mhm.
5 years ago, you're stitching verses together or stills together to, was this something that you strategized for? I want to get a large following. Um, is this something that I mean, I think it is something that's important. I mean, you want khair to be popular and you want shar to be restricted and to be constricted, vice and you want virtue to become mainstream. So where was there a strategy behind what you did? Is there anything that can be replicated by others?
Definitely, definitely. But initially, there was no there was no thought process. There was no plan. There was even there. I To be honest, there was no motive to want to have a massive following. You know, like I never thought 100,000 subscribers. You know, I always thought like, hey, it'd be cool to hit that one day, but I wasn't like actively trying to hit that. You know, um, yeah. So, and it's always nice. Like to some extent, you do care. Like, oh, look how much engagement this video got. You know, oh, mashallah, I'm increasing in followers. Like, it brings a little bit of happiness, right? But that's another discussion. In the beginning, I was just a Quran reciter, and which is great. You know, it's noble, and you're spreading the verses of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, His message, His words. But seeing once I started doing that, I saw just how um, black and white. I don't know if that's the proper thing to say. How people reacted to a Quran reciter, you know, and it didn't sit well with me. For example, like if I went to an event to recite, um, people get all serious all of a sudden, and oh, the Quran reciter's coming up, and he recites, and then everybody goes back to being normal, right? I didn't like that. I was like, why do we have to make Deen such an obnoxious or like nuisance type
Formality.
of exactly formality? Nice. Like obviously you have to have a certain adab and respect when it comes to anything that has to do with the religion, but that thing which you just said, why do we have to make it so formal? So from there I was like, all right, you know what, from now on when I go onto stage to recite, I'm gonna say salamu alaikum. And like because mind you, bro, in the beginning I was very like, I couldn't talk, I couldn't engage with a crowd, I couldn't speak to people.
Because you were the qari.
Yeah, man.
So
But
you were not human.
pretty much.
Smile? Could you smile at least?
Yeah, I could smile, but it was more so because I was socially awkward and just like
Oh, okay.
introvert, and like I didn't know how to talk to people or engage people in a talk, you know. So
Yes.
I mustered up the strength just to say salam, and then that slowly built to me, you know, like making people laugh in the beginning, getting people to chill out, relax,
Yeah.
and when I got to the stage where I would deliver a recitation, a translation, I wouldn't just read the translation. Like I would put it together like a story, make it relevant,
Absolutely.
so that people actually feel a connection to what they're listening to, rather than just like, oh, the dude came, recited, spoke, left. Like that's usually what it is, you know. And I didn't like that, so I changed that. But throughout high school, I was singing. You know, I was singing like pop, R&B, like Usher, Bruno Mars, like things like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I left that. I left music for like a point in my life, and once I started realizing that, you know what, I can do more. I want to do more because we're in the age of exhibition. We're in the age of media. I know that I'm an artistic person. I wanted to tap into as many fields of art as I possibly could and provide alternatives to the nonsense that's out there, you know?
Great.
So in short, it went like that, like Quran reciter, me realizing I want to do more, singer, speaker, and all that stuff.
MashaAllah. So then after you do your first event, you start creating your YouTube channel, your Instagram. So you mentioned at the beginning there was no strategy behind it. When you did formulate strategy, what was that?
So strategy, you mean specifically to like grow a following?
Yeah.
So what I did
By the way, did
was
YouTube send you anything when you reach 100,000? Did they send you like a?
they're supposed to send a like a plaque thing. So I'm
I'm
looking forward to
looking
that.
forward to seeing that picture on Instagram.
Yeah, man. I don't know how long it takes for them to send it, but they're supposed to send one for 100K, inshallah.
Okay.
Um, so my strategy, just some key things, right, that I learned in the beginning. I realized that the content that I was delivering, which was Quran recitations, I couldn't possibly deliver that on a consistent basis, um, frequent enough to where I could amass a following. You know, um, I thought you were about to say something.
I am because you said frequent enough. So what is the frequency that is required?
So back then, it was nice because if somebody was following you, 100% they were going to see what you posted. You know, there was no algorithm.
This is
Um,
Instagram.
yeah, Instagram. So algorithm is all new stuff in the last few years. But it was easy. But also I was producing videos. So like I had to record on a mic, record a video, edit that video and post it, which takes hours. So I was like, all right, what do I need to do? And once I was going through the mindset of like, I can do more, I decided I need to diversify my content.
Mm.
By that, I mean, I started posting reminders, started posting advice. I started incorporating my photography work onto my page. I still do all this. And this enabled me to not just post my Quran recitations more often, but post more content more frequently, which would get my page more attention and engagement because I was providing more material. Um, so that was the first thing.
This was all before the algorithm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It was diversifying my content. Obviously,
Of course, the reason
when
why we're sharing all of this is because we want people in our community who have something of value to be able to contribute. We want them to be able to benefit more people, right?
definitely.
We again, there's so much horrible art being promoted. We want to be able to promote, the artists that represent our values. Very good.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, diversifying my content was the first step, and then the algorithm came along. I'm pretty sure the algorithm was a thing when I was in Medina, um, but it was far simpler. It was, you know, just use hashtags and your stuff will blow up, and it was very easy in the beginning, you know. And by the way, like everything I'm saying, specifically saying it towards building a following. Um, I don't want people to like misconstrue it, what I'm saying. So yeah, it was easy. Like I only had maybe 30,000 followers when I was in Medina as a student.
For you, 30,000. Sorry, you must have been lonely.
20, 30,000 followers. And, but I was getting views, like if I posted a recitation in one day, 2 days, it would accumulate like 36,000 views on Instagram, which is a big deal. That means your proportions are really good. And so it was really easy for me to build a following at that point. There came a time where the algorithm went to complete waste. And because Facebook bought it, it became all about those people would succeed who were willing to contribute money and monetize their content, because Facebook wanted to profitize off of Instagram and on any platform.
You have to ads.
Yes, you post something, you post a piece of content, and then put some money towards it to give it a boost and promote it so it reaches people. I've never done that, ever. Mainly because I didn't have money.
All natural.
Organic, alhamdulillah. Yeah, so I didn't do that because I didn't have money. I would do it now. I would do it now because it makes sense. You know, it's technically you're spreading da'wah and you're spreading good things. I would do it. It's just I can't get into my Facebook. It's a long story, but I can't connect the Facebook account to my Instagram. But
episode 2.
Yeah.
If you happen to have Faisal Latif's Facebook, please give it back. Thank you.
So in all, bro, consistency, diversifying your content, and one thing that people definitely miss is engaging with your community. They aren't just followers. They're not just a number that it's increasing your following counts. These are real people who are choosing that out of their life, they're going to dedicate some time to support you and what you do. You are not worthy of that. That is a choice they make, you know? And people fail to see that. So what they do is they don't engage with the people that are following them. They can't even respond to comments. They can't like do live streams just to like talk to people. And just things like that, you know? So those are the top 3 things: consistency, diversifying your content, and engaging with your community.
Bro, why don't you just at me, bro? Why don't you just at me?
What do you mean?
Like describe me everything that I don't do. But you're right. You're right. For me, I don't do debates online, man. I just can't debate people. I have zero. And so when people are like, you know, I can't do the back and forth. I don't have the patience for it or anything like that. But
yeah,
these are all great. Jazakallah khair. These are all great. That being said, you know, and I recognize that this is something that people want so bad. You know, I went to an Islamic school and I was just in town for an event. And I said, you know what? My friend had a son who went to an Islamic school. I was like, let me stop over there and, you know, we'll do some poetry recitation for the kids and, you know, just do a different session for them. And so I came and there were all these 10-year-old kids and stuff. And I guess the teacher, she's introducing me as like some famous poet or blah, blah, blah. So the kids run up to me. They're literally so excited and they run up. And the first thing they yell at me, I'm hearing all these kids screaming. They're like, how many subscribers do you have on YouTube? I was like, what? They're like, how many subscribers do you have? I was like, let's not talk about that, guys. Let's just move this on. But I was surprised that they were asking me about subscribers.
That's the age now, bro.
And these are the kids. This is what they're coming into. This is the world that they're coming into.
Yep.
I mean, that you have. That being said, fame is something that's incredibly dangerous.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Even as it wields potential for benefiting people and all of that, we understand that it is incredibly dangerous. Is this something that you advise? Are there particular guidelines that you've learned along the way that you would encourage people who are endeavoring into this field that they hold themselves accountable to?
Yes, 100%. Do I recommend people building a following for themselves on social media? That is a very, I would say my answer to that is very balanced. Yes and no. Yes, because that's the age we live in. If you have something to offer, if you have an ability that you've been blessed with, or a talent that you can spread and influence good with, inshallah, then you don't exist if you don't have a following. If you're not uploading stuff onto social media, you don't exist. Besides maybe your community, and you just so happen to grow through word of mouth, you know? So for that reason, I would say yes, because it can bring about immense immense benefit to the world. I say no because with this blessing, just like any other blessing, comes its tests, and it comes with a massive learning curve, not just for delivering content, not just for being in front of people's eyes and in the public spotlight, but also there's a huge learning curve for you learning who you really are and how to deal with things that come with fame. Certain guidelines that I would say people need to have before they even start considering that they want to build a following. Obviously, that's never the intention. That's never the goal or purpose. But if you're doing stuff that is bringing fame about, you definitely need a mentor. Definitely need somebody who can keep you on earth and prevent you from getting lost in the clouds. You definitely need a mentor, because if you don't,
what does a mentor look like? What does that mean? Mentor.
To me, a mentor is somebody who can guide you not just in the worldly sense, but in the spiritual sense as well. Because whether you're providing Islamic content or not, and you're just providing content, fame is going to come. And when that fame comes, it's not just about, oh, brother, focus on your heart, humility, et cetera, et cetera. That's very true. But how does one know? Like, only a person who's in tune with the age and what this age brings can tell you, okay, this is happening, but be weary of this. This is what life is about, and somebody who can distinguish spiritual from life, but also bring them together when need be. A lot of the times people have mentors who are just religious or just dunya based, and it doesn't help. But to me, a mentor is somebody who is learned in the religion, and can provide you guidance, not just in a physical aspect, but something that's neglected a lot in the Islamic community, especially in the States, is the spiritual aspect. Religion by default, its definition includes spirituality, and we forget to focus on our hearts. So if you're not focusing on your heart and where your heart is going, then what you're doing on social media will be a massive blindfold.
Excellent. Jazakallah khair. Okay. So that was number one. You need to have a mentor.
Yeah. With that mentor or with teachers, I think the second guideline is definitely make an effort to learn your religion, because in the Western world where we live, when it comes to acquiring a certain a certain degree or a certain pedestal in life, it's like, let's just use school as an example, right? When you're getting your degree, it's very here's the textbook, this is the material you need to learn, go learn it, you'll have an exam, and if you had great grades at the end of your program, you get your bachelor's degree, right? But Islam is not like that. You cannot just have a textbook, read it, and say you know stuff. And you could probably explain this far better than I can, but when it comes to learning Islam and making an effort in learning your religion, the source isn't the books. The source are the people who compiled those books. And you need to go to people who are able to teach that material, because this isn't just text. This isn't just, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is matters of the heart. And if you don't have guidance in that, then it becomes physical acts of worship only. That's why I believe in our community, we have so many of us are just, I pray, I fast, I give charity, but we're not content, we're not happy, we don't feel what those physical aspects of worship are supposed to bring.
And I think that's where all of this plays a role, right? And so when you talk about a comprehensive da'wah, I do believe that, for this particular podcast, we wanted to make it knowledge, art, and culture, because they all need to go hand in hand. They all have a particular culture, and we have a particular culture, and it is definitely one that's powered by art. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we want our artists to be connected with our people of knowledge as well.
Yes.
And people who are connected with, so you have, because right now we have an incredible problem of identity, where the art that we consume is diametrically opposed to the values that we have.
Yes.
So what we need to, hopefully what we're able to create, inshallah ta'ala, and we have pockets here or there where people are able to create, but we don't have it at the level that I think is needed, where we're able to create we're able to create a culture where these things are congruent and these things are harmonious and synonymous. So that's the idea.
Yeah,
And I'm very, very glad, alhamdulillah, that you're framing it in this way. So teacher or mentor, learning your religion, anything else as far as
yeah.
minefields that people need to pay attention to as they embark on this? Or you
Yes,
think they should be looking to secure for themselves along the way, not just things that
yes.
they're trying to avoid? Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, most of the things I'm gonna say, they're gonna be mindset based because, in my opinion, mindset's everything. So another thing is be patient with yourself. If you are trying to build a following, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen from you posting 2 videos and expecting you're gonna have 10,000 views the next day. It doesn't work like that. It starts with 10 people. And 10 people fail to recognize. There's a lot of people. Imagine 10 people coming and sitting in your room right now just to listen to what you have to say. It's the same thing. 10 people watching your video is a big deal, and people lose the value of that. I mean, you would expect that because that's just the age we live in, right? But number one thing is be patient with yourself, stay focused on your craft, distract yourself with being so engrossed in making stuff, in making your content, that the views and the amount of subscribers and the followers start to matter less. It should be, I post a video, and the next 3, 4, 5 days, next week or whatever, I'm not checking to see how many views the video gets. I don't care, because once I upload that video, the next day I'm already working on the next video. I could care less about how it does. I'm focused on my craft, perfecting it, growing, and that's it. So that's the first, next thing is be patient with yourself. After that is, with fame comes a lot of opinions from those who follow you, So it's learning, it's learn to have a backbone.
Be principled.
Yeah. Be principled. Yes. People let everything affect them. They forget that at the end of the day, they have a choice that they can, sure, it's not this black and white, but at the end of the day, you have a choice on what you let in and what you keep out. If you are letting every little negative comment or hatred that people have towards you get to you, you've already failed. You've already failed. And going back to the other tip I had with where you won't be concerned, stop being concerned about the views and subscribers and followers, it's if you are focused on that, your growth will not be as what's the word? Where it's just recurring. That's the word. What's the word for this?
I don't know. I don't know.
you you
I don't know.
you
It won't be that continuous. Is that
yeah,
what?
as it won't be as continuous and as rapid as it could be.
Okay.
It won't be as continuous as rapid as it could be because you've already lost your focus on the wrong thing. So this tip right now is be principled, have a backbone, and be in control, because people lose sight of that a lot, and they start going down a very deep hole that's never ending. That's where insecurities start. That's where feeling the need to please each and every single person that watches your stuff or has something to say about you stems from. So stop that early. But there's a flip side to this coin. You can't have this ego where you're like, I'm not going to listen to any criticism that somebody sends my way. No, it's not about that. The other side of the coin is where your mentor or those closest to you, and mind you, sometimes the people closest to you will not be your biggest supporters. By closest to you, I mean those who genuinely have no other motive and could care less about anything else. All they want is for you to be successful and see you do good in what it is that you're doing. So you take criticism from those people. You take criticism from the people have nothing but your best interest in mind. And that's not always your friends. It's not always your family members. So that's something to stay mindful of. And I believe,
how important is it to have a team?
bro, it's important, man. I wish I had a team. I wish I had a team. Like, I do every single thing myself. Everything.
Yeah.
The only time I had a team was, I mean, I have my sister. I have those in my life who they'll help me set up the camera real quick, right? But when it comes to bigger projects, like I don't know if you saw the spoken word that I did, I'm losing everything.
Is that the one where you're buried?
Yeah, where I buried myself.
Yeah.
That I needed a team, but even then the team was just me and another person, you know.
Yeah.
I coordinated everything. I got the people together, made sure I had all the supplies, anything that I needed for the video, planned all the shots, laid out the story, but like every single thing, you know, I had to take care of. And then I had a camera guy, obviously, because I can't film myself. But teams are important, man. Teams are not just for the sake of getting work done with you, but also
Being that the reason why it came to my mind is because of what you were just talking about having people around you who have that, you know, as my daughter walks into the room and takes over the room, she's giving me the indication that we got to wrap this up. She's the queen, and I just live here. So you're going to start to hear nursery rhymes in the background. But what were you saying? So, yeah, that's the reason why. It's because of that idea that people who can hold you accountable or that you can kind of get genuine feedback from.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Exactly. And then I have one last thing that's very important is stay true to yourself while staying true to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if you are not, then it's just like, what are you driven by then? You know, it's like, if you don't have that guiding you, if you don't have, all right, is this acceptable? Is this beneficial, or is this positive? Like things of these sorts, right? Like if your video, you think that on a significant level would not sit well with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you're thinking correctly, you know. But if you're not concerned, and you're only concerned about views, for example, or followers, then it gets to the point at some point in time where you're just like, oh, content. Oh, what can I produce next, right? What's gonna get people to click on this? What's gonna make people laugh? Like, there's nothing wrong with humor or anything. I'm just saying, like, the correct mindset is necessary, and let that be guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to come full circle, the only way you can know Allah and what is pleasing to Him is by learning your religion through those who are qualified to teach it.
MashaAllah, beautiful, man. I love how you brought that full circle. That was a clean wrap.
Alhamdulillah. Bro, it's all off the top of my head, man.
Listen, let me praise you. You don't have to add more to it. You know? Oh,
cut that out, bro.
Off the top of my head. I just thought it was okay. Thank you. No, you remind me of the guy. You remind me of that joke. Have you ever heard where there was a guy who was praying? He was praying like a salah, and he was just praying it amazing. He was just praising people around. You did hear this one, right?
That's what I was thinking of when I said it, because I was like,
people around, they were like, MashaAllah, look at his ruku', his recitation is so beautiful. And the guy looked at him, he's like, I'm fasting too.
Yeah.
Like, let me do the whole MashaAllah bit. But you know, and I really appreciate your time, by the way. I know that you've had a busy day. So Jazakallah khair for taking time out to be number 2 on this podcast. Rhyme and reason, starting off with a bang. Real quick though, you went to Beirut.
Yes.
You just went on a charity mission to Beirut. What was that like, and what was that for? What did you do over there?
So Beirut obviously experienced the 3rd largest explosion in history, August 5th or something like that.
Yeah, yes, last month.
Yeah, last month. And the organization that I went with, their mission was to help rebuild homes. And obviously people saw the videos for it. It wasn't just some tiny explosion. There was a whole mushroom cloud. There was a blast wave. And I went there to document the work we were doing. So apart from, like, obviously, like I'm a photographer and filmmaker. So alhamdulillah, I get to travel to do that stuff, like sole purpose, go document what's happening. And this trip was different because I've done other things, other work, other like relief things and charity things. But this one was different because it was the first time where something ridiculous happened. And 2 weeks later, I was at the place, you know. There was no plan of it. There was no things of whatnot. Just I was there. And it was insane to see what the explosion did, bro. Like, I spoke to people who were 500 kilometers away from the explosion, and I spoke to people who were like a mile and a half out from the explosion. And at 500 meters, bro, or at 800 meters, um, I was in a place where it was no longer a house. Um, it was just bricks. Um, and what's even worse, like I posted this on my Instagram. I was standing in a child's room, filming it, and there was this complex, like this building where 4 families lived, and it's just one of the things that we encountered. Um, there was 4 families living there, and of the 4 families living there, only 2 individuals survived. Um, and it was crazy. I'm just like, man, imagine being in your room right now, and out of nowhere, like everything around you is just stripped and just like blown to ash, you know? Um, so that was heartbreaking. And these 2 people that I was speaking to, they were Syrian refugees. They had fled Syria. They had gotten their life together in Lebanon and in Beirut, and that got blown away. You know, it's just they were living outside, right outside.
4 families were Syrian families?
The 2 individuals that I was talking to, I don't know about the others, but the 2 individuals that I was talking to, they were Syrian refugees, and they were living outside now. Um, and then like a mile and a half out, we ate at this cafe for lunch, and there was the dude who owned the cafe. I asked him like, how did the explosion affect you? You know, because mind you, like even though the explosion was bad all throughout, but less than a mile to like about 2 miles, glass was shattered everywhere. Windows were shattered. So the organization was replacing windows, fixing foundational damage to the buildings themselves. And so the guy was like, alhamdulillah, nothing broke. But I couldn't hear out one of my ears for 2 hours after the blast wave hit them. So like he was obviously facing where the explosion came from, and he couldn't hear out of that ear. But it was, you know, the most mind-blowing thing, bro, was I expected going there. I expected to see like destruction everywhere, which I did, right? But everyone had come together and cleaned up. I was trying to get a grasp of what does this place look like before the explosion? What did it look like? And they were like, it looked like this, minus like obviously the damaged things. It's just everyone came together and cleaned up. And hearing the stories, just like somebody was like, about a week after the explosion, we were like, there was this insane smell coming from where we live, and we couldn't figure out what it was. And they were about 800 meters out from the explosion, okay? And they were like, we called somebody to check it out because we just tried and we couldn't figure it out. And underneath a bunch of rubble, they found human body parts that had flown from all the way from the epicenter of the explosion, 800 meters out in this person's home. Yeah.
I mean, that's you know, even 2 weeks later when you're talking to these people, like they haven't even processed what they experienced yet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly.
Also, have mercy on the dead and
I mean,
bring healing to the living.
I mean.
So what other projects are you working on now in quarantine?
I'm just trying to.
The final question before I let you go. I know you always got a lot of things going on, but what should people be looking out for from just Faisal Latif?
Inshallah, I'm gonna be releasing more songs, and now that like I hit 100K, bro, there's like, alhamdulillah, like sometimes certain things need to happen to like revoke things inside. So like I'm more motivated and driven to release more content, inshallah, make more things. You know, like I genuinely love doing it, but what holds me back at times is I'm all about quality. So it's like sometimes it's a setback because I don't want to do it if I'm not doing it well, you know. So yeah, more songs, inshallah, and I'm actually thinking of starting a podcast. Why'd you cross your arms?
As long as I'm your first guest, that's all. You know,
now you'll be
my blessing.
You'll be number 2.
I'll be number 2. Okay, that's fair enough. But you know what? What's it called? That in and of itself is a whole different discussion. Because
it is.
What you're talking about is I don't want to do it unless it's quality. It's something that creatives suffer from a lot. I know I suffer from it. right?
Yeah.
And at times it becomes a handicap and it hampers you because you become a perfectionist. There's a
Yeah.
difference between a person saying, you know, I'm not going to put out something that's low quality, but sometimes our idea of perfection becomes what stops us from moving forward.
Yes. Yes. But also, you know, like, uh, yeah, we'll just I'll stop it there. I won't add anymore, bro. Like I can, like all the questions you asked me, like I took them in so many different directions.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a lot longer. It could be a lot longer discussion. We'll save it for part two, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah, inshallah.
But jazakallah khair. Of course, your Instagram is just Faisal Latif. Your YouTube is Faisal Latif.
Yes.
I'm going to put that
Yes.
up on the screen, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, my brother. Always a pleasure.
Likewise, bro. Jazakallah khair, man. And dude, apart from having me on here, I just want to say, like, 5, 6 years ago when I first met you, I appreciate you. You know, there's a lot of people in the scene, right? And all of them are of different levels of humility, stature, if you want to call it, and just down to earthness. And I just want to say thank you for being you, bro. Because 6 years ago, you could have said anything to me. You could have treated me like anything, but you chose to treat me normally rather than some kid trying to like come up and like you put me on. You know, you're like, hey, I do this surah in motion thing. I want you to do it. I was like, cool. Like that meant a lot to me. That meant a lot to me, bro.
And we'll
And
do it again too.
definitely, inshallah. And all these years later, you know, like we still know each other. We still talk to each other. We haven't grown apart, and that means a lot.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, my man. Thank you very
Jazakallah
much.
khair, bro.
Appreciate it. Yakum,
Thank you for
inshallah.
having me, man.
Inshallah. See you for part two very soon.
Inshallah. Take it easy, man.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.